live over. There's what looked like a scuffle between a couple. Well, when I saw her get out of the truck, her face is just all bloody. She looks like she just got in the car and left. This person has a maroon-colored truck, and I don't know what they were fighting over. The horn was honking, and I was trying to mind my own business until I saw her.
This is Tracy Mandabough, a hardworking mother of 4 whose life was tragically cut short in a brutal act of violence. But who was responsible for this horrific crime, and what drove them to such extreme measures? Join us as we delve into the chilling details of a case where a neighbor's 911 call exposed a dark story of obsession, jealousy, and ultimately murder. On the evening of May 18, 2020, a routine dispatch call transformed into a horrific murder scene. A police officer responding to a potential domestic dispute was informed that one party had fled the scene, possibly in a Cadillac. Arriving at the location just 5 minutes later, he found a red pickup truck and, tragically, the lifeless body of Tracy Mandabough. Tracy had been brutally stabbed to death outside her apartment complex in Ottumwa, Iowa, as she parked her car. The officer's attempts at CPR were futile. It was clear she had been ambushed. This brutal act of violence was rooted in a complex web of revenge, loneliness, and online relationships that had blossomed during the pandemic. Tracy Mandabough, a 47-year-old resident of Ottumwa, had lived a life of hard work and solitude. Raised in the declining manufacturing hub of southeast Iowa, she had never left her hometown. Despite not finishing high school, she persevered, earning her GED and working as a certified nursing assistant, often alongside part-time service jobs. A dedicated mother of 4, she faced financial struggles but always strived to provide for her children. By 2020, her children were grown, leaving her to navigate a solitary existence. For months, she walked to and from work, arriving early and staying late, demonstrating her unwavering work ethic. Her life, though challenging, took an unexpected turn in February 2020 when she met Nick Boat. During the early stages of the COVID-19 pandemic, Tracy, like many others, found herself spending more time online. While attempting to connect with a friend of a friend on Facebook, she mistakenly sent a friend request to Nick Boat, a 41-year-old quality technician from nearby Pella, Iowa. This accidental connection proved to be a serendipitous encounter. They discovered shared interest in the outdoors and Iowa wildlife, sparking a connection that quickly moved from Facebook to phone calls. Finding a kindred spirit in each other, they offered each other an escape from their respective struggles. On March 8, 2020, they went on their first date, exploring the Roberts Creek area in Pella, searching for deer antler sheds. Their second date was less successful, as Tracy's work demands interfered, but this did not deter their blossoming relationship. A month later, Nick and Tracy moved into an apartment together in Pella. Nick gifted her a ring symbolizing their commitment. Tracy had also formed a bond with Nick's children, particularly his daughter, who sought her advice. This appeared to be the beginning of a new, happy chapter in Tracy's life. However, the idyllic facade crumbled on the evening of May 18th. A neighbor, relaxing on her back deck, witnessed a disturbance in the parking lot and called 911.
Police department. Over in the sixplex next to me, I just went outside the desk to smoke a cigarette, and what looked like a scuffle between a couple. Well, when I saw her get out of the truck, her face is just all bloody. She looks like she just got in the car and left. This person has a maroon-colored truck, and I don't know what they were fighting over. The horn was honking.
She reported seeing a possible domestic dispute involving a maroon pickup truck and a Cadillac, with a woman leaving the scene with blood on her face. Another neighbor who worked with Nick Boat provided a more detailed account.
I heard noises in the back and the drive, horns honking, raising a ruckus.
He recognized the red truck as Nick's and observed 2 women arguing, with one leaning into the cab of Tracy's truck. He distinctly heard the phrase, "He doesn't belong to you, he's mine."
I could hear women's voices, pretty much like an argument would sound like. I observed one person from the vehicle, I'm assuming that was next to the truck, leaning over in the cab of the other lady that was in the cab of the truck. One person was appeared to be sitting in the driver's seat. The other person was sprawled over the top of the person sitting in the seat.
This witness's account revealed that the altercation was not a mere dispute, but a violent confrontation fueled by jealousy and possessiveness. The investigation quickly focused on Michelle Boat, Nick's estranged wife. The red pickup truck was registered to both Nick and Michelle, and a silver Cadillac matching the witness's description was also registered to her. When officers arrived at Michelle's home, they found the Cadillac with bloodstains and suspicious items.
When I approached the vehicle or looked down inside the passenger window, I noticed down on the passenger side floorboard, there were several items that kind of caught my attention. One was blue rubber gloves. There appeared to be an orange hammer, a gardening spade, and looked like a flat bar or pry bar. Then up on the seat, there was a dark colored purse, a set of binoculars.
The car's rotors were still warm, indicating recent use, but Michelle did not initially answer the door. Inside her home, officers discovered a washing machine running a cycle with only one outfit of clothes. In the bathroom, they found her car keys and black hairs, which did not match her blonde hair. Further investigation revealed bloody rubber gloves in the toilet tank, matching a severed fingertip found at the crime scene.
Also matched the same color of the gloves that I located, or observed, I should say, in the Cadillac back on Prairie Street in the driveway.
Michelle Boat was taken to the police station. Examination of her hands revealed scratches and bruises consistent with a struggle. The hair found clutched in Tracy's fist matched Michelle's DNA. The evidence pointed unmistakably to Michelle as the perpetrator. To fully comprehend the motive behind this horrifying crime, investigators delved into Nick Boat's personal history. 20 years prior, on January 1st, 2000, Nick Boat had married Michelle. Michelle, who worked in a hospital laundry, was 14 years older than Nick. They had 2 children together. However, their marriage was far from harmonious. Michelle openly expressed her lingering affection for her ex-husband, and their disagreements over parenting were frequent and intense. Nick felt Michelle was too harsh with their children, leading to further conflict. From the outset, their relationship had been fraught with tension, and it only got more abusive as time went on. By the beginning of 2020, Nick and Michelle Boat's marriage had deteriorated to a point of near silence. When Nick reconnected with Tracy Mandabough on Facebook, he informed Michelle of his new relationship and moved out of their shared home. According to court filings, their separation was formalized on March 11, 2020. However, this separation, intended to end their strife, marked only the beginning of a tragic escalation. In the ensuing months, Michelle publicly vented about her marital struggles, posting on Facebook about her lingering love and sharing memes depicting infidelity. But her frustrations were not confined to the digital realm. 4 days after their official separation, Michelle allegedly assaulted Nick, leaving him with bruises and a cut. Nick reported that Michelle was enraged by his departure and refusal to grant her a divorce. He obtained a no-contact order, which Michelle proceeded to violate 4 times by calling him and appearing at his workplace. She also left threatening voicemails, demonstrating her escalating anger.
And tell the bitch, whore that you're sleeping with, she messed with the bomb.
Michelle's rage extended beyond Nick, targeting Tracy as well. She sent Tracy several text messages, including demands for Nick to return home and ominous threats of appearing in her dreams. Michelle also began stalking Tracy, following her 40 miles from Pella to Ottumwa on March 20th and confronting her at a gas station. Tracy, fearing for her life, called the police, expressing concerns that Michelle might be armed. Less than 2 months later, Tracy would be dead, and Michelle would be charged with her murder. Despite their separation due to her own lack of affection and harsh treatment, Michelle remained fixated on Nick. Police discovered a calendar in her home, marked with the days since their separation, indicating her obsessive tracking of time leading up to her attempt to win him back. In May 2020, amidst the height of the pandemic, Michelle's defense team argued that her actions were the result of an emotional breakdown exacerbated by the isolation and stress of the pandemic.
How did you feel when you realized on March 12th that Nick had left?
Heartbroken, sad, despondent, devastated, destroyed. Like, my whole life had just walked out the door.
How is the pandemic affecting my life? I just didn't have anything. I didn't have any money, I didn't have any food, I didn't have anybody to talk to about my situation. You know?
And you weren't getting work at the hospital?
I wasn't getting work at the hospital.
They did not deny her involvement in Tracy's death, but sought to portray it as a moment of emotional collapse. During the trial, Michelle recounted feeling heartbroken, sad, devastated, and destroyed when Nick left. She described the pandemic as a period of profound isolation, lacking financial stability, food, and emotional support. Her work at the hospital had also been affected, contributing to her distress. The defense argued that Michelle's mental state was fragile when she encountered Nick's red pickup truck at a laundromat on the evening of May 18, 2020. She claimed she was on her way to purchase food with her last $6 when she saw the truck and followed it. Upon seeing Tracy leave the laundromat and drive away, Michelle continued to follow her, driven by a desire to know where her estranged husband was living.
I just watched her and I followed her to wherever she was going because I wanted to know where my husband was living.
Tracy and Nick had established a routine. When Nick worked late at Vermeer Manufacturing, Tracy would bring him dinner. On this particular Monday evening, Tracy followed her routine, stopping at Burger King to pick up food for Nick. Unbeknownst to her, Michelle was tailing her in her silver Cadillac. Tracy delivered the food to Nick and then drove home with Michelle following her. Tracy stopped at the apartment complex where she and Nick lived, which was also the same complex where Michelle and Nick had begun their married life 21 years prior.
At the apartments that him and I had our first apartment at when we got together 21 years ago.
Michelle's defense argued that this convergence of locations and memories contributed to her altered mental state. Michelle testified that she approached Tracy, intending to ask her to leave Nick. She claimed that Tracy initiated a physical altercation, hitting and verbally abusing her.
I wanted her to leave him. And I got out of the truck. I got out of the car. And I went around to talk to her. And I opened the truck door. And she started hitting me. And screaming at me. Calling me a crazy bitch. She was hitting me and hitting me and hitting me. And I had my hands up. She's yelling at me. And I just snapped and I grabbed the knife and I just stabbed her and I dropped the knife and I went back around the car and went home.
Michelle asserted that she snapped and stabbed Tracy in self-defense, subsequently fleeing the scene. She stated that she kept a knife in her car for self-defense, fearing for her safety in the absence of Nick, her supposed protector. She also claimed that the other tools found in her car were for self-defense. However, her claims of self-defense did not account for the latex gloves and binoculars found in her car, which suggested premeditation rather than a spontaneous act of violence. These items indicated that Michelle had followed Tracy with the intent to kill her. eliminating her as a rival for Nick's affections.
Did you tell them that you stabbed Tracy?
No.
Did you tell them that you hadn't seen Tracy in months?
Yes, that's what I told them. I lied to the police because I knew I was in trouble and I was scared and I didn't know what to do. I was so scared.
The defense sought a charge of voluntary manslaughter, arguing that Michelle's actions were an isolated, unpremeditated break driven by pandemic-induced isolation. However, the prosecution argued that Michelle's actions were deliberate and calculated. Her behavior after the murder, washing the blood off her face, laundering her clothes, hiding the latex gloves, and disposing of the murder weapon, demonstrated a rational attempt to cover her tracks. She also lied to the police, further undermining her claims of an emotional breakdown. The jury rejected the defense's arguments and convicted Michelle Boat of first-degree murder after less than an hour of deliberation. She was sentenced to life imprisonment. Michelle attempted to appeal the verdict, citing issues with jury selection, prosecutorial error, and restitution payments, but her appeals were denied. She remains incarcerated. Meanwhile, Tracy's 4 children maintain contact with Nick, believing it is what their mother would have wanted. Make sure to subscribe for more interesting videos like this. Thanks for watching.